Flipkart is full of very smart people. Everyone you meet there, you can just assume they're smarter than you. They definitely are.
If I was doing corporate strategy for Flipkart, I'll tell them a reasonable strategy for them is actually taking their business model global.
So if you take China for example, they have a tendency of group purchases and they also like to bargain. I think that kind of opportunity at that early in your career, I don't know if you will get.
Your profit is my opportunity, right? Flipkart has to say Amazon's profit is my opportunity. Ola needs to say Uber's profit is my opportunity.
Can Flipkart sustain this whole battle? I think they definitely can.
So, Rinku, tell us something about all the people who might be outside Flipkart and wondering what is Flipkart like inside? What's the culture there? What is the environment there? Kaisa hai organization? How's the organization like?
So back when I worked, Flipkart is full of very, very, very smart people. Everyone you meet there, you can just assume they're smarter than you. They definitely are. Second thing that I noticed about Flipkart is everybody is confident, right? And everybody has got conviction and are very opinionated about what they think, right? And that's something that I learned from them to stand my ground, when I feel like things, I'm not sure about things. And Flipkart is also fun. Everybody there were really fun. I remember the office parties, the hangouts. It was really nice. We had outings to Goa, Thailand, and also that was also really fun time.
Tell us like what is Flipkart like? And what is the future of Flipkart? Like I know that Walmart has acquired a majority stake in Flipkart, right? Like how is it Flipkart
Right.
doing? Is it able to compete with Amazon? Give us the core.
Yeah. So I think the core, can Flipkart, sustain this whole battle? I think they definitely can. Like I said, the people in Flipkart are very strong. They're very smart, very strategic, and aware of how the environment is evolving. Right. I think when I joined Flipkart, I was in fact told you're making a bad decision. Amazon is going to kill Flipkart. Flipkart, it's not going to exist. So why are you even accepting this offer? But then they sail through that, right? So I think the people there, the company is very resilient and it will be able to sustain this war. So don't see a concern there. Yeah, the people culture is really strong. I think the people who really power the Flipkart brand. Having said that, one more thing I want to highlight about Flipkart, which might be rare about other companies, the kind of opportunities that they give, right? So I had just joined the organization and, out of college, barely 2 years of experience before that. And I was part of the grocery team and responsible for the growth and retention of grocery, and then went on to be part of the storefront team, owning the homepage or storefront experience, right? I think that kind of opportunity at that early in your career, I don't know if you will get, right? So Flipkart really pushes you to be your best and gives you the opportunities to, show your best as so.
And
That's
is
something
most
I
of the
wanted to
Flipkart
highlight.
employees they're still based in Bangalore, right? Like it's a Bangalore heavy company.
Yes, they are.
So just to put
Yes,
this in
yes.
perspective, Rinku, you were in Flipkart for about 4 or 5 years, 2016 as an intern, and then 17 to 21 as a full time. And this period was after Flipkart had cleaned out the competitors by buying them out. Whether it was Mintra, whether it was Jabong, whether whoever it was, that happened before your time. That let's just buy out the competition, so we are the only one
Right.
competing with Amazon at that time.
Mhm.
So my
Right.
question really, because we
Yeah.
were talking about the culture in the organization and there was a lot of M&A happening. So I used to be an M&A consultant back in the day. That's usually a big challenge for organizations who have grown through acquisitive strategies. So did you see that different people, different teams having a different work ethic or a cultural ethic?
Actually, not much.
Right.
I did not have much exposure
Right.
to that aspect
Right. So
of
basically,
Flipkart. Yeah.
when you saw those
But
people in the Flipkart after their
Mhm.
M&A phase, you saw them, oh, these are Flipkart people. I'll give you an example.
uh,
20
I,
years ago, I worked in a company called Colgate. And Colgate, while it wasn't an acquisitive culture, there was one acquisition Colgate had done before I joined, which was buying Sibaka or Siba Gai,
Mhm.
which in the 90s.
Mhm.
Even for like 8 years after acquisition, people used to talk, oh, that's a Sibaka guy. That's a Colgate guy. While it was like just 10% were
Mhm.
Sibaka people still retained that identity.
Yeah.
He's like ex Sibaka.
Right. At least at the time that I was working in Flipkart, all these companies are kind of isolated. Like Myntra
Right.
had its own office. Myntra
Right.
could make its own decisions. Integration between Myntra, Flipkart were
Mm.
very slow and very little. Same with eBay and all of that. I think Flipkart did study eBay model and all of that, but the co-working thing I did not
Okay.
come
Okay. So,
across
so
it
you're
too
saying
much.
they were kept
Again, it could
separate.
have
They
been
hadn't
just
See,
even
that.
been integrated.
look, the reason I'm negative about Flipkart is that if we're just talking about the business here, is that Amazon makes money in America because of its cloud offering, right? Amazon Cloud. It doesn't make money on the actual product itself because
Right.
that's a very competitive, cutthroat business. And what has happened with Flipkart
Mhm.
is that it has not
Mhm.
innovated outside the product delivery and selling products on a website. And I don't think selling products on a website is a business where you can have more than 1 or 2% margin and you have huge expenses with 25-30% returns, right? I am not
Mhm.
bullish on Flipkart. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Again, just the hopeful person speaking here, not really as an Flipkart employee. But I also look at it this way, right? There's a lot of advertisements that happen on Flipkart. The amount of traffic that Flipkart
Sure.
gets, crazy, right? So, and also, if you notice, Flipkart has introduced something like a
Yes.
white labeling. So you have brands selling
Mhm.
exclusively on Flipkart, and I think those things
Yes.
give huge margin. And also it's all about the numbers game, right? I think these days there's a lot of stress on revenue and all of that, but if is revenue all that matters, if you're looking at user base reach, they
Mhm.
have all of that, right? So, and also they had introduced
Mhm.
loyalty
Mhm.
programs, Flipkart coins, kind of
Mhm.
ensure there's good retention.
That's a,
And
that's
so I
a that's a
think
very good
those
insight,
things are
Rinku,
going
because
for them.
Amazon, if you I'd actually looked at Amazon's balance sheet and I had used I think ChatGPT to explain to me like how is Amazon doing, and if you look, Amazon it doesn't make money from selling products from its own warehouses. It makes money
Right.
from advertising,
Right.
like you said, which Flipkart has. It makes money from its computing infrastructure that it provides to others that Flipkart doesn't have. It makes money from that. It doesn't make money from white label
Mhm.
because competition is too high. So I think like the reason Flipkart sold 48% to Walmart is not public yet after 17 years means, and at least because it's not public, we don't know a lot about his P&L, but from what we know, it's still making losses. Like, I don't think the top management is able to sleep.
In the short and medium term, you can get VC funding and just keep pouring in and pouring in, pouring in money, keep buying out your competitors or keep getting them out of business and making them unprofitable. And then at that point, and this is the oligopolist mentalities of the big tech that we've learned from the Silicon Valley startups, is when no one else is there, that's when you make the profits. And we are a YouTube channel ourselves, right? If YouTube says, I'm going to give you nothing, do we have an option? Yeah, not too many, right? Because there are only two or three options. But
Right.
imagine 20 years ago when YouTube started and there were like 20 competitors, and either they went out of business or they were bought. In fact, YouTube itself was bought by Google rather than being an organic.
So I think look, if I was doing corporate strategy for Flipkart, I'll tell them that a reasonable strategy for them is actually taking their business model global. Because see what has happened very interesting, and I think this is a unique insight, that when I used to go from my home to San Francisco airport till 3 years ago, it used to cost me $25-$30 on Uber. And I used to ask the driver, Kecha, and most of these were Indian guys, how much are you getting? And he used to say that I'm getting $30. I said, well, I only paid you 25. Why are you getting 30? So that was the VC money that Uber was funneling to the drivers. Now, because Uber has established monopoly in the market, if I go from my home to San Francisco airport, it's $60. And when I ask the driver, how much are you getting? He says, I'm not getting anything. I'm only getting $22. So now more than 50% of the money is being kept by Uber because they become a monopoly, right? What this does is that it allows someone
Right.
like Indian homegrown players to now come to the US, right? Now Ola can come to the US and tell the drivers that no, we'll, instead of you getting 40% of the money from Uber, we will start giving you 80% of the money, because all we're doing is just running a technology platform. And that will migrate a lot of drivers from Uber to Ola, or at least they can have two phones. Ola bhi hai, Uber bhi hai. And then when I'm getting a Ola ride, I choose a Ola ride because I make 80% of the money. And that changes the game. And what has happened with Amazon is that for every third party seller on Amazon, like my wife, she said that I'll try and sell, like she loves dog. She has a dog and she loves a dog. And she said, I want to sell some dog products on Amazon. So she started looking into it. And for her to sell a $20 dog product on Amazon, Amazon will keep $6. $6 to $7 will be kept by
Right.
Amazon because Amazon is a monopoly. Where else will she sell? Because that's where people go to buy. So when Flipkart came and said that, look, all we are providing is the technology platform. Instead of us keeping 30%, we'll only keep 10% from you. We'll only keep $2 out of $20. Then people like my wife would want to sell on Amazon or on Flipkart instead of Amazon. And that's what, so like Miglani was very correctly identifying that, look, people start making money when they become monopolists, right? YouTube is now a monopoly, Amazon's a monopoly, Uber is a monopoly. And then what we can do is homegrown players in India can then say that, look, because your profit is my opportunity, right? Flipkart has to say Amazon's profit is my opportunity. Ola needs to say Uber's profit is my opportunity. And Indians are a big segment in the US. You first start with marketing to the Indian segment and then you grow from there. I think.
Just two cents here, at least from what I felt when I was working in Flipkart, is there is also a cultural aspect to how e-commerce work, right? Like Flipkart, to crack the market, had to introduce cash on delivery. Now they're available in all regional languages and so on, right? So I think there is this cultural nuance which needs to be cracked if you are going to be available in a new region. And I think today Flipkart is really strong in their forte of understanding the Indian customers. They're way more popular in tier two cities and so on. While it's easy to say, hey, we'll expand to a new region, the thought of how can we, translate the local shopping behavior into a digital platform is something I think would be really challenging, and maybe the local players would understand that better than an international player trying to enter that market.
No,
Again,
I think
just my
that's a
two
very
cents
very valid
based
point to
on
raise,
what
Rinku. That's a very valid point that the buying patterns in India, the culture in India is so much different. Yeah.
So if you take China for example, they have a tendency of group purchases, and they also like to like bargain. So their online shopping kind of
China
shows that
online shopping has
behavior
bargaining
patterns.
also.
Like yeah, I've heard about it where you can like say, hey, I'm gonna give only this, and you can chat with the seller and then
Nice.
make a purchase. So if you
Hmm.
open AliExpress and all, some of the items, if you're buying in wholesale, the
Hmm.
prices are in ranges. You can message the seller and
Hmm.
then you can talk and buy. I think in India, many people have tried these things that have worked for China, and it's not
Hmm.
really picked up, right? So yeah, so entering a new region is going to be a challenge. You'll have to do your research, and you'll have to figure out what
See,
works in that
I personally classify
region and
companies
how
in two
can you translate
categories.
it.
Are they going to beat the index? Are they going to not be able to beat the index? So for me,
Mhm.
that is not a company
Right.
which can beat the index. And the index is like say the Nifty, right? The top 50 companies in Nifty 50. And I think if somebody had 10 lakhs to invest, I would tell them like you have an opportunity to invest in Flipkart, I have
Mhm.
an opportunity to invest in Nifty 50. I'll say, put your money in Nifty 50, don't put it in Flipkart. That's my
Yeah, just that I've seen Flipkart. Like I said, my experience was, hey, why are you even accepting Flipkart? They're gonna sink this year. Amazon is gonna eat them up. That's the
hmm.
kind of environment in which I joined,
What's the culture
and
inside? Is the
I've
culture
seen
inside
them.
of Trump fight, fight, fight? Or is the culture inside of Kamala Harris, which is a word soup? So, like, what is the culture inside Flipkart? Like, they understand this tension too, right? Like, Amazon is gonna eat me, or why am I not profitable yet? So,
Yeah,
what is the culture inside?
they're very aware.
Yes, and
They're
is it
very they're very aware
hmm,
of the
hmm.
realities in
And is it
market.
a culture of fight
Yeah.
to figure out a solution?
So, like I said, yes, yes, and not just fight. I think they also think for the long term, right? For example, one of the behaviors that many e-commerce firms were quick to introduce is in add to cart. They give you a discount if you add some item and then you
Yes.
don't buy. After 2 days later, they'd be like, "Hey, we're
Hmm,
now giving you extra 10% discount."
hmm.
Flipkart did not do that because they were clear that's not a sustainable
Yeah, and they were
behavior for
smart because
shoppers,
sometimes I
right?
will add
Because then
something to the
every other
cart and not
person,
buy and wait
yeah,
for a discount coupon to show up.
No,
right,
absolutely. And I still remember those
right,
times, and I've heard from friends and family because word spreads like wildfire. Ek ko aise mila, then you're like,
right.
okay, this is the only way to shop. Everyone was just adding to the cart, going out, getting a discount, coming back, buying the same thing.
Coming back. Yeah. So Flipkart did not do that because they have the long term thinking right, I believe. So they'll survive. I'm being positive.
So
So
Rinku,
yeah,
you were
let's
saying
hope
you
for the
joined in
best.
this time when Amazon had come in, and there was rumors that Amazon is big globally, and
Mhm.
rightfully so. They are the number one in pretty much every country they
Mhm.
have Amazon in, and but there is this Flipkart here who,
Mhm.
for the last 10 years, understands the Indian market better than Amazon right now does.
Mhm.
If I were Amazon at that time, I
Mhm.
would just poach half of Flipkart's
Mhm.
senior team and say, "Come, I will give you 10% extra or whatever, 50% extra salary. Just work for me. I'm giving you MNC type of culture and all that."
Mhm.
Did that happen at all? Did you hear of it? See
Mhm.
any of it?
I think I was way too junior to, make
Hmm.
sense of it. But I think if I do go to LinkedIn now and check, hey, are there alumni from Flipkart and Amazon? It would say definitely a lot of
Right.
people are working there. I had few friends intern there, right? And I think Amazon has this value of frugality. So the deeper culture there was, hey, let's see what we can reuse from what we've already
Hmm.
built. I think that's it, and build. So maybe that adaptability wasn't as fast as what Flipkart is doing, because Flipkart is doing
Hmm.
more of a first principle thinking where it's like, hey, this is the Indian customer. They're not adopting e-com. How do I go about it? And then we're building the capabilities from that point of view versus, hey, I have a set of capabilities. Now how do I, make them work for the Indian market? I think
Right,
that's where
right. And
Flipkart
and
had
you
the
were talking
advantage.
about cash on delivery. Did Flipkart invent that in India in shopping, or were there other people doing it for that?
As far as I know, Flipkart was the first to introduce cash on
And was it
delivery.
before you joined or
And
around the time when you were there?
that I think before I joined, because I remember sitting in Cognizant, ordering on Flipkart, and then you wait for the delivery person and paying for it. So